Hi, how are you guys? I am Malaika Haaning, the founder of Malaika New York, a zero-waste fashion company. I launched the company because I saw a need for a high-fashion, sustainable company. The company that was out there was more like bohemian, earth-like, so I wanted to make something cool and fun. And so why zero waste? Because that's basically the hardest thing you can do within fashion. I went to Parson and I had a really amazing class. We had a piece of fabric and we were not really allowed to cut or sew or really do anything other than really make it fit on the body. So how do you do that? And by the end of the class, I saw what everyone came up with and was just like, is this really possible? Why is the industry wasting 25 to 30%? When you really don't have to. So I was just very complex about it. So I was very passionate about it, so I thought if I was ever going to have a company, that would be my biggest focus. So I started out with only 2 styles, because I was like, well, sustainability is something where you have to limit yourself, like you have to be a little bit uncomfortable, right? So I was like, okay, if I only do 2 styles, that means that I won't have as much waste, it will sell out fast, but that's not really how it works. Because as a fashion company, you can't just have 2 styles, you have to have a collection so that people can see the aesthetics of the company and you're building a brand. So whenever you look at sustainability, you don't have to think about, oh, I'm uncomfortable, like I don't want to do this because it's hard, it's difficult. You have to look at it as an opportunity to do something better for you and for the world and for the planet in total. Like just start, like figure out how can I start? Like figure out, like if you're making a product, like how can you make that product better so that you can have less waste? Is there a different way of cutting it, or can you use more of the material? Can you change the pattern a little bit? Or can you, like, let's say you have some waste, can you use some of that waste for something else, like a value-added, maybe a marketing product, who knows? Or can you do something with your supply chain? Can you change something, like can you ship ocean instead of air freight? Could you use the ocean for a warehouse instead of storing it somewhere? So you're saving the environment for the fossil fuels and you're shipping it by ocean. But that means you have to have all the ducks in a row, obviously, because it's all about time. And also, can you make better quality products? Can you make a product that will last for many years compared to if you're making a product you know they're only going to last 2 years, because then you can sell your consumer another one, right? So, but can you then maybe offer your customer 25% or whatever and say, if it breaks, we'll take it back, we'll repair it, and then you can actually sell it again maybe. We have to rethink about the way that we think about waste in general. So there's different ways of zero waste in the fashion industry. As I said before, zero waste is the most constructed sustainable factor in fashion. So there's one way to do it is when companies say that there's zero waste, yes they are, but then they might just use only dead stock fabrics, but then they're still throwing that excess fabric away. Then another way to do zero waste is by simply using cutting scraps. So when you have a garment, I said before it was 35% that you are wasting. They're taking those waste from the fabric floor and they're creating actual garments out of it. So that's an amazing way. It's also very costly and way of doing it. I have one design so far, and it's probably going to be the only one because it's too much money and it's too much time to do that. So the way that I do it, as I explained before with Parsons, is that I have a piece of fabric and I take that piece of fabric and I put it on a dress form, and then I try to see how can I make that fit without actually having the waste. Because why would you waste beautiful fabric if you didn't have to? So that is one way of doing it. Another way is actually having a pattern. So that's how you start. You have a pattern and you know, for example, let's say I'm making a t-shirt. I have to decide before I do it. Let's say I'm having a t-shirt and that t-shirt is made from an organic cotton. I know that the organic cotton that we're using are about 60 inches wide, which is around 120 centimeters. Then I make a pattern and I put that on one piece of fabric, mostly squares, as that is what I work with. And then I need some holes for arms, I need one for the head, I need one for the body to move through. So that's a way of doing it. Another way, I actually made a collection completely just by starting to sew into the fabric without even wasting any fabric at all, just making a tube all the way and then trying to figure out how do I make armholes, like I need my arms to get out of the garment basically. So there's different ways of approaching it, and every time I do it, it's a little bit different. So it's all kind of very hard and very technical, but it's so worth it. So how is my company sustainable beyond the zero waste? Because that's not enough, right? So in the beginning, it was just the zero waste part, but as I moved along, my company has looked at all the aspects of my business. So for example, all the materials that I use now is sustainable. I have a jacket that's made from 48 plastic bottles. I have a jacket that's made from upcycled bike tubes. I have tops and t-shirts that's made from old carpets and old fishing nets that's been discarded on the bottom of the ocean. So I'm trying to solve all of this by using the materials, but I'm also looking at the waste part because I feel that's what I'm passionate about. So when you look at sustainability, you have to go in and see what are you passionate about it? What can I do that's easy? Can I just like look at the packaging? How does your products, what are you packaging? Like, what is the material? Can it be recycled? Is it biodegradable? That kind of thing. And so, what's the benefits of zero waste? Like, it's so difficult, right? So, my customers, when they see something online, they're like, this looks interesting, I haven't seen this before. It's a square, like how does that work? Like, this is pretty cool, but they don't really know what it is. And then they go look, and then they read the story, and they read the story about the materials, they read about the process, and then they fall in love. They might not wanting to buy it right away when they look at it the first time, but then they read the story and they're like, this is amazing, I want this. And then they buy it, they wear it, and then people are like, this is really cool, where did you get that? And then they're like, not even telling them where it's from, they're also telling you, hey, I have a jacket, this jacket right here is 48 plastic bottles. And then, you know, it's free publicity because word of mouth is the best marketing that you can get, right? So by adding something into your products, by doing something special, you're adding value for your customer, you're adding value for your company, and you're giving something back and helping to save the future. So it's not all just hard, it can be fun too. So in the fashion industry, everyone is counting for themselves, but in the sustainable fashion industry, it's more like, come on, let's do this together, let's create this community, and let's grow this community. But in order for that to happen, we need the big players to take action. They need to speed up the process and to get everyone on the same page. There is only one way forward, and that is if we all take responsibility. Together, our businesses can be the power of change. Let's do this. Thank you.